Why traveling within Africa is so expensive? A round-trip flight ticket from Paris in France to Oslo in Norway costs between $200 and $350 and covers a distance of about 2,174 kilometers. A round-trip cheap flight ticket from Douala in Cameroon to Lagos in Nigeria will cost between $500 and $1,000 and cover a distance of less than 1,000 kilometers. Same amount applies to most flights within the African continent and can even go up to $1,500 if you're flying from Cairo to Durban or from Sudan to Mauritius, for instance. If you're someone who travels a lot, both within and out of the African continent, you must have realized that traveling out of the continent is sometimes cheaper than traveling within the continent of Africa. Dubai, for example, is one of the most traveled destinations by Africans, and flying into the city is way cheaper than flying to neighboring countries within the African continent. The big question is why? What factors are responsible for the high prices within the African continent? Well, in this video, we will try our best to give you answers to this question. But first, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and like this video. Now, Africa is a huge continent. Despite being rich in natural and human resources, it is still the least developed continent in the world, with poverty, corruption, and bad infrastructures as some of its major challenges. The transport infrastructure in Africa is still the worst, which is why traveling within the continent is a struggle. If you look at developed continents like North America and Europe, you will realize that the transport system is so developed that people live in one country and work in the other. Can you imagine that? A lot of people live in France and go to work in Switzerland on a daily basis, and the list goes on and on. This is because the road and rail network in these places is very different and efficient from ours. In Africa, the road and rail network is so very underdeveloped, making it extremely difficult to move from one country to another, thus the high cost of transportation. Despite the fact that traveling from one African country to the other by road might be cheaper compared to flying, it is an extremely difficult one due to bad terrain, risk, and bad vehicles, which is why most people prefer flying. The truth is, for you to fly within the African continent, the trip better be worth it because it doesn't come cheap at all. This explains why most Africans prefer going on vacations out of the continent because it is cheaper doing so. Several reasons are responsible for why flights within the continent is ridiculously expensive. Number 1, lack of passengers. As an African living in Africa, if you were given a ticket to go anywhere in the world, where will you go? There is a high chance you choose a destination far away from the African continent. Running an airline company is extremely expensive, and doing so in Africa even worse due to extremely high taxation policies, bad infrastructure, corruption, and much more. Many Africans living in Africa don't travel within the continent, which is why the airlines increase prices so as to compensate for flying with empty airplanes. Okay, let me put it into perspective. Imagine an airline schedules a flight from Mauritius to Senegal with a 200-seat capacity airplane, and only 32 passengers actually book and pay for the flight. It means the airplane will have to fly with 165 empty seats. You see what I mean? So it's only normal for the airlines to increase their prices so as to compensate for the empty seats. This scenario might never happen with a flight going to Dubai or Turkey because these destinations are usually overbooked and it's a whole bucket full. To solve this problem, African countries should open their borders to other African countries. Strict travel restrictions from African countries makes it hard for Africans to want to explore the continent more. Getting visas to travel within Africa is so difficult and time-consuming, which discourages a lot of Africans to travel within the continent. Should all African countries be visa-free for Africans no matter your country of origin, just as it applies in Europe? Then Africans will travel more within the continent, hence reducing the cost of air transport. There are Africans doing their best to showcase the beauty of the African continent so as to encourage others to explore. But then we want to appreciate creators like Wode Maya, Miss Trudy, African Tigress, and Tayo Aina for shining the light on the beauty of Africa. Our team at Explore love and respect your work. Number 2, lack of carriers and competition. There are about 20 airlines in the entire continent of Africa that operate international flights. Most airlines only operate domestic flights. Imagine a continent of 1.3 billion people depending on 20 airlines for movements. This makes it very arduous for some countries having flights landing or moving out of the country. Imagine a destination where flights only go there once a week or twice a month. Clearly, flights to such destinations will be extremely expensive and ridiculous because of lack of options, and this is the case with most destinations in Africa. The African air transport is still struggling to find its feet, and until it does, we should admit that flying within the continent will remain expensive. Dear Explorers, let's continue this conversation in the comments, will we? We would like to know, are you a frequent traveler within the African continent? What are your experiences like when it comes to prices of air tickets? Also, what in your opinion do you think can be done to solve this problem? The best comments will be pinned, I can assure you of that. Thanks for watching this video. Please support the channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing this video with your friends.